Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video is going to look at, in some detail, to the 2017 A-level exam series to see what lessons that we can learn and apply in our exams in this upcoming 2019 series. I would like to do some videos on the 2018 papers, but they're not available yet to the public. They're currently protected on the AQA website, and I can't put any videos up on them, or else I'll infringe AQA's copyright with that material. So I'm going to focus on the 2017 papers, and anything that I learned from the 2018 papers I'll try and drop in without infringing any laws. So I'm going to start with paper 1 and the multiple choice section in there. But just before we get into that, I always advise students to get comfortable with what they're going to be going into in the exam, making sure that they know what the exam paper looks like. It sounds silly, but do you know what the front of the exam paper looks like? Where you're going to be putting your names, if you've got your centre name, your candidate number. You literally want to have all of this memorised, so that you have to put zero effort into putting this down. You want to save all of your mental energy from the exam. Make sure you come with the correct equipment. You're going to need a calculator, and you're going to need a black ink and black ballpoint pen. Now, most papers are scanned into a computer and marked on somebody's laptop. Okay, so most papers are scanned into a computer and marked on someone's laptop. It says here to answer the question in the space provided. Do not write outside the box. Now, what gets scanned into someone's computer is this area here inside the box. If you're making annotations outside the box, it might not get read. Okay, so make sure that everything that you answer goes inside the box. And if you continue on a separate piece of paper, put a massive star at the bottom and say continued on separate paper or something else, and make it really clear on that separate paper what question that you're answering. I have examined for AQA in the past, and it's very frustrating when you read to the end of an answer and they haven't put where they've continued, or they haven't put if they've continued at all. And in fact, in some circumstances, I've read an answer, given it a mark, and then I've found later on that they've continued elsewhere, and it's just a pain for the examiner, and you want the examiner on your side. So make sure that you're turning up with a black pen, you're writing inside the box. The other thing to know is how to answer the multiple choice questions. These instructions are quite clear on how you correctly fill in the option boxes and what you should do if you make a mistake and if you want to return to a correct answer. But you don't want to be reading this in the exam, right? You need to know this before you go into the exam, so that you have got all of your mental energy to answer the questions. So, make sure that you read this, make sure that you know how to fill in the multiple choice questions before the exam. The other thing to know is that you're going into paper 1 and you are going to have 15 multiple choice questions to answer. So how do you answer those multiple choice questions? Well, I'll give you some examples in a minute, but this is what a multiple choice question looks like. Here are the boxes. You put your answer in that little circle if you want to put answer A. Now, in this one was question 1 in 2017. They said for question 1 in 2018, that they put a relatively easy question. I mean, this is one that you either know the answer to or you don't. In my book, it's a relatively easy question, but you might just want to pause it and have a look and see if you can find the correct answer there. Okay, and the correct answer is C. So what do I recommend for tackling these multiple choice questions? Well, I think that the best thing to do is to read the questions, cover the answers, and think about the correct answer in your mind. If you've got the correct answer, this need only take a couple of seconds, but if you've got a correct answer before you look at the options, and you can just look at the option that most closely matches your correct answer, and that's going to be the answer. So all you need to do is just find that correct answer and check it. What do you do if that either you don't know the answer or you read the question and it's not clear from the question exactly what the answer is? Well, in that case, I recommend you eliminate. And you might be lucky enough and be able to eliminate 3 options, so you're left with the correct option. But probably because the way they specifically generate these multiple choice questions, you can eliminate 2 usually relatively easily, and you're left with 2 possible answers. They call the incorrect answer a distractor. Close and plausible, but not correct. And that's really what makes a good multiple choice question. So if you get to that situation where you've got 2 answers left, you've got the correct answer and you've got a distractor, well, obviously the best thing to do is guess. Never, ever, ever leave a multiple choice question unanswered. On so many occasions, I've seen students who leave multiple choice questions unanswered, and I suspect that the thinking that goes through their mind is, well, I'm not sure on the correct answer now, I'm just going to move on, and then I'll come back, and at the end of the paper I'll answer it then. But you are highly likely to forget that you've left a multiple choice question unanswered. You've got 2 25-mark essays at the end of paper 1, right? You're going to have all of your mental energy focused on them. You're not going to be thinking, oh, what about that multiple choice question? So what do? If you're stuck, you don't know the answer, just guess, right? And you can put a little star on the front or a little star in the margin to remind you at the end, okay, I wasn't sure on this question, I might need to revisit it. But if you forget to do that, it's no big deal. You've had a guess and you've got a 25% chance of getting it right. And if you've been able to eliminate 2 incorrect answers, you've got a 50% chance of getting it right. So just take a stab in the dark and hopefully you'll get the correct answer. So what type of questions do they ask in multiple choice? Well, the first type is just a definition question. You can use the strategy here where you cover the answer and you read the question. And then if you know your definitions inside out, which you should do, you'll know that's a sensitivity analysis straight away. And you can just tick option 3 and move on to the next question. Also, you need a calculator. Now, I'm not a great mathematician, particularly in my head, so I would certainly need to use a calculator with this. But, you know, even if you are quite a good mathematician, I still recommend that students use calculators, right? They're there for a reason. They take away all of the mental effort pretty much, and as long as you know the formula. And they save that mental effort for later on. So use a calculator. They also stop any like silly misunderstandings. So don't be a hero in the exam. Just use a calculator. Make sure you get the correct answer. Come on, I'll pause the video and see if you can work this one out. And of course, the answer is A. So the most common type of question, as far as I can tell, is a question about models. So you need to know a load of models for the AQA business qualification. Carroll's pyramid of corporate social responsibility is one of them. Griner's model of growth is another. You've got Hofstede, you've got Ansoff, you've got all of these models that you're taught over the 2-year course, and you need to know all of them. And they quite like testing them in the multiple choice thing, and it can be any model. One of the things that they say in the examiner's report is the paper covers a whole range of the specification across all 10 units, so make sure that you know everything that's in the specification, and then you've got a good chance of being able to answer every multiple choice question. The answer to this one, if you want to pause the video, think about it, the answer is D. Okay, so this type of question seems to have come up a couple of times, where you've got 2 statements and they ask you to say if they're true or false. All right, so how would I do this? I would literally like write a letter T or F next to each statement and then make sure that I get the answer right here. Okay, make sure, you know, nothing wrong with annotating. the paper to make sure that you get the correct answer. Okay, and the correct answer in this case is B. So I did do these multiple choice questions when in preparation for this video, and I got 14 out of 15, so I got one wrong, and this was the one I got wrong. Now, why did I get it wrong? Obviously, I don't know Griner's model of growth well enough. Okay, I made the videos on it a year ago now. I taught it to a class about a year ago, but it's not deeply, I haven't got a deep sense of learning, so I'd kind of forgotten it. And what did that teach me about the multiple choice questions? Well, it taught me that if you don't know the answer to a question, it uses up quite a lot of mental energy. I was really thinking about this. I did my strategy of eliminating and I got down to 2 options. But I really thought about this, and that did 2 things. Like I say, it drained my mental energy, and if I were going on to do the whole paper, I probably could have used that thinking time elsewhere. If I'd have known Griner's model of growth inside out, I would have known the correct answer straight away. Secondly, it used up a load of time. So you guys probably know Griner's model of growth better than I do. So you will know that the correct answer was D, I think. But I'll correct that if I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's D. Okay, so this was the examiner's report. You can read that yourself, but you can see that calculations came up, price elasticity, critical path, Griner's model of growth, and then the models, Lewin's force field, Ansoff, and Griner. So they came up in 2017. In 2018, Hofstede came up, and I can't remember what else came up in 2018. But you can see that knowing the models, calculations, definitions is going to stand you in good stead for these multiple choice questions.